Book 19, Penelope and Her Guests. That left the great Odysseus waiting in the hall as Athena helped him plot the slaughter of the suitors. He turned at once to Telemachus, brisk with orders. Now we must stow the weapons out of reach, my boy. All the arms and armor, and when the suitors missed them and asked the questions, put them off in a winning story. I stowed them away clear of smoke, a far cry from the arms of Odysseus left when he went to Troy. Fire-damaged equipment, black with reeking fumes, and glad reminded me of something darker too. When you and your cub's quarrel might break out, you'd wound each other and shame your feasting here, and cast a pall on your courting. Iron has powers to draw a man to ruin. Telemachus did his father's will at once, calling out to his old nurse Euryclea, "Quick, dear one, close the women up in their own quarters till I stow my father's weapons in the storeroom. Splendid gear lying about neglected, black with soot, since father sailed away. I was the only boy then, and now I must safeguard them from the smoke." "High time, child," the loving nurse replied. "If only you'd bother to tend your whole house and safeguard all your treasures. Tell me, who's to fetch and carry the torch for you? You won't let out the maids who light your way." "Our friend here will," Telemachus answered coolly. "I won't put up with a man who shirks his work, not if he takes his ration from my stores, even if he's miles away from home." That silenced the old nurse. She barred the doors and led to the long hall, and up they sprang, Odysseus with his princely son, and began to carry off the helmets, studded shields, and pointed spears, and Pallas Athena strode before them, lifting a golden lamp that cast a dazzling radiance round about. "Father," Telemachus suddenly burst out to Odysseus, "oh, what a marvel fills my eyes! Look there, all the sides of the halls, and handsome cross beams, pinewood rafters, and tall columns towering, all glow in my eyes with a flaming fire. Surely a god is here, one who's ruled the vaulting skies?" "Quiet," his father, the old soldier, warned him. "Get a grip on yourself. No more questions now. It's just the way of the gods who rule Olympus. And off you go to bed. I'll stay here behind to test the women, and test your mother, too. She in her grief will ask me everything I know." Under the flaring torchlight through the hall, Telemachus made his way to his own bedroom now, where he always went when welcome sleep came to him. There he lay tonight as well, till dawn's first light. That left the king's grate still waiting in the hall, as Athena helped him plot the slaughter of the suitors. Now down from the chamber came reserved Penelope, looking for all the world like Artemis or golden Aphrodite. Close to the fire her women drew her favorite chair, with its whorls of silver and ivory inlaid rings, and craftsmen who made it years ago, Acclamius added the footrest under the seat itself, mortised in the frame, and over it draped a heavy fleece. Here Penelope took her place, discreet and observant. The woman, arms bared, pressing in from her quarters, cleared away the tables, the heaps remains on the feast, and the cups in which the raucous lords had drunk, raking embers from the braziers onto the ground. They piled high again with seasoned wood, providing light and warmth. And yet again Melantho lashed out at Odysseus. "You still here, you pest, slinking around the house all night, leering up at the women? Get out, you tramp. Be glad of the food you got, or we'll sling a torch at you and rout you out at once." A killing glance, and the old trooper countered, "What possessed you, woman? Why lay into me such abuse? Just because I'm filthy, because I wear such rags, roving around the country, living hand to mouth? But it's fate that drives me on. That's a lot of the beggars and homeless drifters. I too once lived in a lofty house with men admired, rolling in wealth, and often I'd give a vagabond like myself, whoever he was, whatever need he brought him to my door. And the crowds of servants I had, and lots of all it takes to live the life of ease to the men call you rich. But Zeus has ruined it all, God's will no doubt. So beware, woman, and one day you may lose it all your glitter that puts in the workmates in the shade, or your mistress may just fly into a rage and dress you down, or Odysseus may return, and there's still room for hope. Or if he's dead as you think and never coming home, well, there's a son Telemachus, like father like son, thanks to god Apollo. No woman's wildness here in the house escapes the prince's eye. He's come to age at last." And so he warned, and alert Penelope heard him, wheeled on the maid and tongue lashed her smartly. "Make no mistake, you brazen, shameless bitch. None of your ugly work escapes me either. You will pay for it with your life, you will. How well you heard from my own lips that I meant to probe the stranger in our house and ask about my husband. My heart breaks for him." She turned to our housekeeper Eurynomé and said, "Now bring us a chair and spread it soft and fleece, so our guest can sit and tell me the whole story. Hear me out as well. I'd like to ask some questions point by point." Eurynomé bustled off to fetch a polished chair and sat down and spread it soft with fleece. Here Odysseus sat, the man of many trials, and cautious Penelope began the conversation. "Stranger, let me start our questioning myself. Who are you? Where are you from? Your city and your parents?" "My good woman," Odysseus, master of craft, replied, "no man on the face of the earth could find fault with you. Your fame, believe me, has reached the vaulted skies. Fame of your flawless kings and the dreads of gods, who governs the kingdom vast, proud and strong, who uphold justice true, and the black earth bears wheat and barley, trees bow down at the fruit. and the sheep dropped slam and never failed to see teams with the fish, thanks to his decent upright rule. And under his sovereign sway, the people flourish. So then, here in your house, ask me anything else, but don't, please, search out my birth, my land, or you'll find my heart is overflowing even more as I bring back the past. I'm a man who's had his share of sorrows. It's wrong for me in someone else's house to sit here moaning and groaning and sobbing so. It makes things worse, this grieving on and on. One of your maids or you yourself might scold me that it's just the wine that has doused my wits and made me drown in tears. No, no, stranger, the wise Penelope demurred. Whatever form and feature I had, what praise I'd won, the deathless gods destroyed that day the key and sailed away to Troy, my husband in their ships, Odysseus. And if he could return and tend my life and renown, I would only grow in glory, nor my life is a torment. Look at the griefs that some god has loosed against me. All the nobles who rules the lands round about, Lusunian, Sam, and what is Alcinius too, and all the lord who's sunny at Ithaca itself. They court me against my will. They lay waste to my house, so I pay no heed to strangers, suppliants at my doors. Not even heralds out in the public errands here. I yearn for Odysseus, always. My heart pines away. They rushed the marriage on, and I spent out my wiles. A god from the blue, it was inspired me first to set up a great loom in the halls. And I began to weave, and weaving fine-spun yarns endless, and I would lead them on. Young men, my suitors, now the king Odysseus is no more. Go slowly, keen as you are to marry me, until I finish off this web. So my weaving won't all fray and come to nothing. This is the shroud for old Laertes. For that day, when the deadly fate lays out at last to take him down, I dread the shame my country women would heap upon me. Yes, if a man of such wealth could lie in a state without a shroud for cover. My very words, and despite their pride and passion, they believe me. So day by day, I weave in my great growing web. By night, by the light of the torches set beside me, I would unravel it all, and I'd undone. 3 whole years I deceived them blind, seduced them with this scheme. Then, when the wheeling season brought about the 4th year, and the months waned and lawn days came round once more, then, thanks to my maids, the shameless, reckless creatures, the suitors caught me in the act, denounced me harshly. So I finished it off, against my will, they forced me, and now I cannot escape a marriage, nor can I contrive a deftly way out. My parents urged me to tie the knot, and my son galled at my squander in his estate. He sees it all. He's a grown man by now, equipped to tend his royal house and tend it well. Zeus grants my son that honor, but for all that, now tell me who you are. Where do you come from? You hardly spring from a rock or an oak like some man of legend. The master improviser answered slowly. My lady, wife of Laertes' son, Odysseus. Will your questions about my family never end? All right then, here's my story, even though it plunges me in a deeper grief than I feel now. But that's the way of the world. When one's own been so far from home, so long away, roving over cities and men, enduring many hardships. Still, my story will tell you all you need to know. There's a land called Crete, ringed by the wide dark sea and rolling whitecaps. Handsome country, fertile, thronged with people, well past counting, boasting 90 cities, language missing with language side by side. First came the Achaeans, then the natives Cretans, hardly gallant in action, then Sidonian clansmen, Dorians living in 3 tribes, and proud Peloponnesians last. Central to all the cities and magnificent Knossos, the site where Minos ruled and each 9th year conferred with the almighty Zeus himself. Minos, father of my father, Dosadian, that bold heart. Besides myself, Dosadian's sire, Prince Andomeneus, who set sail to Troy in the beaked ships of war, escorting Atreus' home sons. My own name is Aethon. I am the younger born. My older brother, a better man than I am. Now it was there in Gnosus that I saw him, Odysseus, and we traded gifts of friendship. A heavy gale had landed him on a coast, driven him way off course, rounding Malia's Cape, when he was bound for Troy. He anchored with Ampsinius hard by the goddess's cave of childbirth and labor, that rough harbor, barely hiding out the storm. He came into town at once and asked for Idomeneus, claiming to be the brother's close, respected friend. Too late. 10 or 11 days had passed since he set sail for Troy in his beaked ships. So I took Odysseus back to my own house and gave him a hero's welcome, treated him in style, stores in our own place, and made him a princely entertainment, all for the comrades who had shipped with him. I dipped into public stock and gave him barley, ruddy wine, and fine cattle for slaughter, beef to his heart's content. A dozen days that stayed with me there with the brave Achaeans, penned up in the north wind, so stiff that a man, even on dry land, could never keep his feet. So angry spirit raised his blast, I'd say. Then on the 13th day the wind died down, and they set sail for Troy. Falsehoods all, but he gave his falsehood all the ring of truth, and so she listened on. Her tears flowed and soaked her cheeks, as the heavy snow melts down in the high mountain ridges. Snow in the west wind piles there, and the warm east wind thaws, and the snow melting swells the river to overflow their banks, So she dissolved in tears, streaming down to the lovely cheeks, weeping for him, her husband, sitting there beside her. Odysseus's heart went out to the grief-stricken wife, and under his lids of eyes remained stock still. They might have been horn or iron, his guile fought back his tears. But she at once, she had filled with grief and weeping, turned again to her guest with this reply. Now, stranger, I think I'll test you, just to see if there is in your house, with all the friends in arms, you actually entertain my husband as you say. Come, tell me what sort of clothing he wore, what kind of a man was he, what of the men who followed in his train? Ah, good woman, Odysseus, the great master of subtlety, returned. How hard it is to speak after so much time apart. Why, some 20 years have passed since he left my house and put my land behind him. Even so, imagine the man as I portray him. I can see him now. King Odysseus, he was wearing a heavy woolen cape, sea purple in double folds, with a golden brooch to clasp it, twin sheaths and the pins, and a face of work of art. A hound clenching a dappled fawn in front of paws, slashing as it ride. All marveled to see it, solid gold as it was, the hound slashing and throttling the fawn in the death throes, hoofs failing in the break free. I noticed his glossy tunic, too, clinging to his skin, like the thin glistening skin of a dried onion, silky, soft, and glint of sun itself. Women galore and gaze on it with relish, and this, too. Bear it in mind, won't you? I have no idea if Odysseus wore these things at home, or a comrade gave him this on a bearded ship, or a host, perhaps. The man was loved by many. There were a few Achaeans to equal him, and I gave him a bronze sword myself, a lion cloak, an elegant deep red, friend shirt as well. I saw him off to the Long Beach ship of war, in lordly style. Something else. He kept a herald beside him, a man a little older than himself. I'll try to describe him to you best I can. Round-shouldered, he was swarthy, curly-haired, his name was Eurybates, and Odysseus prized him most of all men. Their minds worked as one. His words renewed her deep desire to weep, recognizing the strong, clear signs Odysseus offered. But as soon as she had her fill of tears and grief, Penelope turned again to her guest and said, Now, stranger, must have I pitied you before, now at my ask you will be a special friend, my honored guest. I am the one myself who gave him the very clothes that you described. I brought him in from the storeroom and folded them neatly and fastened the golden brooch to adorn my husband. Odysseus, never again will I embrace him, straddling home to his own native land. A black day it was, when he took his ship to see the cursed city. Destroy, I call it. I hate to say its name. Ah, my queen, the man of Crass assured her, noble wife of Laertes' son, Odysseus, ravage no more with your lovely face with tears, or consume your heart with grieving for your husband. Not that I blame you, ever. Any woman will mourn the bridegroom that she has lost, laying in love and born his children too, even though he was no Odysseus, a man like a god, they say. But dry your tears and take my words to heart. I will tell you the whole truth and hide nothing. I've never heard that Odysseus now, at last, and is on his way. And just enriched the Sprodian country. The man is still alive, and he's bringing home a royal hoard of treasure, gifts he won from the people of these parts. His crew? He lost his crew, in the hollow ship in the wine-dark waters off Thrinacia island. Zeus and Helios raged and dead set against Odysseus, for his men-at-arms had killed the cattle of the sun, so down in the last hand they drowned in crashing seas. But not Odysseus. Clinging tight to the ship's keel, the breakers flung out to dry land on Scheria, the land of Phaeacians, close kin to the gods themselves, and with all the hearts they prized him like a god, showered the man with gifts, and they'd have gladly sailed him home unscathed. In fact, Odysseus would have been here beside you long ago. He thought it was the better, shrewder course to recoup his fortunes roving throughout the world. A sly prophet turning, there's not a man alive to touch Odysseus. He's got no rival there, so I learned from Vidon, thing of Thesprotia, who swore to me that he poured libations in his house. The ships hauled down and the shipmates set sail to take Odysseus home to native land. But he shipped off before. The Thesprotian cutter chanced to be heading a Docletian rich in wheat, and he showed me all the treasure Odysseus had amassed, enough to last a man 10 generations and his heirs. So great the wealth stored up in him and his king's vault. But Odysseus had made clear was off to Dodonia then, to hear the will of Zeus that rustles forth. From the gods tell a leafy oak, how should he return over the years he'd own Ithaca openly or in secret. And so the man is safe, as you can see. He's coming home soon. He's close at hand. He won't be severed long from his kin and country. No, not now. I give you my solemn binding oath. I swear by Zeus, the first and greatest god of my Odysseus herd, where I have come for help. All will come to pass, I swear, exactly as I say. True this very month, just as the old moon dies, the new moon rises to life. Odysseus will return. If only, my friend, reserved Penelope exclaimed, everything you say would come to pass. You seem to know my affection and know my gifts. Any man that meet would call you blessed. But my heart can sense the way it will all go. Odysseus, I tell you, is never coming back, nor will you ever gain your passage home, for we have no masters in our house like him, a welcoming in or sending off honored guests. Odysseus, there was a man, or was it all a dream? But come, women, wash the stranger and make his bed, with bedding, blankets, and lustrous spreads, and keep him warm till dawn comes up and takes their golden throne. Then tomorrow at daybreak, bathe him well, rub him down with oil so he can sit beside Telemachus in the hall. Enjoy his breakfast there. Anyone who offends our guest beyond endurance, he defeats himself. He's doomed our failure here, no matter how raucously he raves and blusters on. But how can you know, my friend, if I surpass all women in thoughtfulness to shrewd good sense, if I'd allowed you to take your meals at hall, so weather-beaten, clad in rags and tatters? Our lives are too much to breathe. If a man is cruel by nature, cruel in action, the mortal world will call down curses on his head. While he's alive, and all will mock the memory of his death, his guests will carry the fame across the earth, and people will praise him from the heart. Wait, my cream, the crafty man objected. Noble wife Laertes, son of Odysseus, blankets and glossy spreads, that's not my style. Not from the day I launched out from my long-oared ship, and the snowy peaks of Crete were fading far astern. All I as I've done sleepless nights before, many a night I've spent in rugged beds afield, waiting for dawn to mount her lovely throne. Nor do I pine for any foot baths either. Of all the women who serve your household here, none will touch my feet. Unless, perhaps, there is one old retainer, the soul of trust, someone who's borne as much as I've borne. I wouldn't mind if she were to touch my feet. Dear friend, the discreet Penelope replied, never has any man so thoughtful of all the guests of my palace come from the foreign parts been as welcome as you, so sensible and so apt in every word you say. I just have such an old woman, seasoned and wise, who carefully tended my unlucky husband and reared him, took him in her arms the day his mother bore him. Frail as a woman as she is, she'll wash your feet. Up with you now, my good old Eurycleia. Come and watch this your master's equal in years. Odysseus must have feet and hands like his by now. Hardship can age a person overnight. At that name, the old retainer buried her face in both hands and burst in warm tears and wailed out in grief. Oh, my child, how helpless I am to help you now. How Zeus despised you more than all other men, God-fearing men that you were. Never did any mortal burn the old thunderer, such rich thigh bones, offering charred and choice, never as many as you did, praying always to reach a ripe old age and raise a son to glory. Now you alone he's robbed in his homecoming day. Just so, the women must be mocked by my king, far away, when he stopped in some fine house, just as all these bitches, stranger, mock you here, and because you shrink from their taunts, their wicked barbs, you will not let them wash you. The work is mine, and Charis's daughter, wise Penelope, bids me now. And I am all too glad. I will wash your feet, both of my own dear queen and for yourself. Your sorrows wring my heart. And why? Listen to me closely and mark my words. Many a wayworn guest has landed here, but never, I swear, has one so struck my eyes, your build, your voice, your feet. You're like Odysseus, to the life. Old woman, wily Odysseus countered, that's what they all say when they've seen us both. We bear striking resemblance to each other, as you have the wit to say yourself. The old woman took up a burnished basin. She used her washing feet and poured in bowls of fresh cold water before it stirred and hot. Odysseus, sitting full in the firelight, suddenly swerved round the dark, gripped by a quick misgiving soon as he touched that she might spot his scar. The truth would all come out. Bending closer, she started to bathe her master, and then, in a flash, she knew the scar. That old wound, many years ago by a boar's tusk, when Odysseus went to Parnassus out to Autolycus and his sons, and the man and his mother noble father, once he had sailed the world of thievery and that in subtle, shifty oaths, Hermes gave him the gift, overjoyed by the thighs and lambs and kids he burned in God's honor. Hermes, the ready partner of his crimes now, Autolycus once visited Ithaca's fertile land to find his daughter's son had just been born. Eurycleia set him down on an old man's knees as he finished dinner, urging him, Autolycus, you must find a name for a daughter's darling son. The baby comes to answer your prayers. You, my daughter, and you, my son-in-law, Autolycus replied. Give the boy a name, I tell you, just as you have come from far, creating pain for many, men and women in the great green earth. So let his name be Odysseus, the son of pain, a name he'll earn in full. But when he's come of age and pay his visits to Parnassus, the great estate of his mother's line, where all the treasures lie, I will give him enough to cheer his heart, then speed him home to you. And so in time, Odysseus went to collect the splendid gifts. Autolycus and the sons of Autolycus warmed him in eager hand clasps and hearty words of welcome. His mother, Amphithea, hugged the boy and kissed it on his face and kissed his shining eyes. Autolycus told his well-bred sons to prepare a princely feast. They followed the orders gladly, herded an ox inside at once, 5 years old, and skinned it and split the carcass into quarters, deftly cut into pieces and scored them onto spits, roasted all in turn and swerved the portions out. So all day long till the sun went down they feasted, consuming equal shares to the heart's content, and then when the sun and set and night came on, they turned on to bed and took the gift of sleep. As soon as young dawn rose her rose-red fingers thrown once more, they all moved out for the hunt, hounds in the lead, Autolycus' son and Prince Odysseus in the ranks climbing Parnassus' ridge. Thick with timber, they quickly reached the mountain's windy folds. And just as soon as the sun began to strike the plowlands, rising out in the deep, calm flow of the ocean river, the beatings came down the wooded glen and the hounds broke, hot on a trail. And right behind the pack they came, Autolycus' son, Odysseus out in front now, pressing the dogs, brandishing high a spear with a long shadow waving. And then and there, a great boar lay in wait. In the thicket lie air so dense, and the sodden gutsy winds had never pierce it, nor could the sun's sharp rays invade their depths, nor downpour drench it through and through. So dense and so dark, and piled with fallen leaves, here the hunters closed in for the kill. Crowding the hounds, the tramp of the men and the dogs came drumming round the boar. He crashed from his lair, his razor back bristling, his arms flashing fire, and charging up from the hunt. He stopped at bay, and Odysseus rushed at him at first, shaking his long spear in his sturdy hand. Wild to strike out, the boar struck faster, lunging him in the slant, a tusk thrusting up over the boy's knee and gouging a deep strip of flesh, but it never hit the bone. Odysseus thrust and struck, stabbing the boy's right shoulder. The glint of bronze and the point ripped clean through, and down the dust he dropped. Grunting out his breath of life, winged away. The son of Autolycus, working over Odysseus, skillfully binded up his open wound, and the gallant godlike prince, chanting an old spell that staunched the blood, and quickly bore him home to his father's palace. There in no time, Autolycus and the son of Autolycus healed him in well, and showering him with splendid gifts, led Odysseus back to his native land, to Ithaca, a young man filled with joy. His happy parents, his father and noble mother, welcomed him home, and asked him of his exploits blow by blow. How did he get that wound? He told the tale with style, with the white tusk of the wild boar had gashed his leg, hunting on Parnassus with Autolycus and his sons. That scar! As the old nurse cradled his leg, his hands passed down. She felt it, and she knew it. Suddenly he let his foot fall, down in the drop of the basin, the bronze clanged, tipping over, spilling water across the floor. Joy and torment gripped her heart at once. Tears rushed over her eyes, voice choked in her throat. She reached for Odysseus' chin and whispered quickly, Yes, yes, you are Odysseus, oh dear boy. I couldn't know you before, not till I touched the body of my king. She glanced at Penelope, keen to signal her, then hear her own dear husband here and now, but she could not catch the glance. She took no heed. Athena turned her attention somewhere else. But Odysseus, his right hand shot out, clutching the nurse's throat. With his left, he hugged her to himself and muttered, Nurse, you want to kill me? You suckled me yourself at your own breast, and now I'm home at last, after bearing 20 years of brutal hardship, home on native ground. But now you know, now that a god has flashed it in your mind, quiet, not a word to anyone else in the house, or else I warn you, and I mean business too. If a god beats down the brazen suitors at my hands, I will not spare you, my old nurse that you are, when I kill the other women in this house. Child, Eurycleia protested, what nonsense you let slip through your teeth. You know me. I'm stubborn, never give an inch. I'll keep still as a solid rock or iron. One more thing, and take it to heart, I tell you. If a god beats down these brazen suitors at your hands, I'll report in full on the women in this house who were disloyal to you and who were guiltless. Nurse, the cool tactician said, why bother to count them off? Waste of breath. I'll observe them, judge each one myself. Just be quiet. Keep your tales to yourself, and let the rest of the gods. Hushed so, the old nurse went padding along the halls to fetch more water her basin had spilled. And when she bathed and rubbed him down in oil, Odysseus drew his chair up to the near fire again, trying to keep warm with his scar beneath his beggar's rags. As cautious Penelope resumed their conversation. My friend, I have only one more question for you, something slight, now that the hour draws on for welcome sleep. For those who can yield in sweet repose, that is, heartsick as they are. As for myself, though, as some god has sent pain that has no bounds. All day long I indulge myself in sighs and tears, as I see to my tasks and direct the household women. When night falls and the world lies lost in sleep, I take to my bed, my heart throbbing, about to break, anxiety swarming, piercing. I may go mad with grief, like Pandarus' daughter, the nightingale in the green woods, lifting her lovely song in the first warm rush of spring, perched from the treetops, rustling leaves and pouring forth, her music shifting, trilling and stinking, rippling through high burst, in grief of Vitalis, her beloved boy, King Zethus' son, whom she in innocence once cut down with bronze. So my waving heart goes shutting back and forth. Do I stay beside my son and keep all things secure, my lands, my serving women, the grand high-roofed house, true to my husband's bed, the people's voice as well? Or do I follow at last the best man who courts me, here in the halls, who gives me the greatest gifts? My son, when he was a boy and light-hearted, urged me not to marry and leave my husband's house. But now he's grown and reached his young prime. He begs me to leave our palace and travel home. Telemachus, so obsessed with his own estate and wealth, my princely suitors bleed away. But please, read this dream for me, won't you? Listen closely. I keep 20 geese in the house, from the water trough, and they come and peck with their wheat. I love to watch them all. But down in the mountains swooped the great hook-beaked eagle. And yes, he snapped their necks and killed them one and all. and they lay in heaps through the halls, while he, back in the clear blue sky, he soared at once. But I wept and wailed, and only a dream, of course. But our well-groomed ladies came and clustered around me, sobbed and stricken. The eagle killed my geese. But down he swooped down, and settled in a jutting rafter, called out a human voice that dried my tears. Courage, daughter of famous King Icarius. There is no dream but a happy waking vision, real as the day, that will come true for you. The geese were your suitors, and I was once the eagle, but now I'm your husband, and back again at last, about to launch a terrible fate against them all. And so he bowed, and soothing sleep released me. And I peered around and saw my geese in the house, pecking at their wheat, and at the same trough that they'd always took their meal. Well, dear woman, quick Odysseus answered, twist it however you like. Your dream can only mean one thing. Odysseus told you himself. He'll make it come to pass. Destruction is clear for each and every suitor. Not a soul will escape his death and doom. Ah, my friend, seasoned Penelope dissented. Dreams are hard to unravel, wayward, drifting things. Not all we glimpse in them will come to pass. 2 gates there are for our evanescent dreams. One is made of ivory and one is made of horn. Those that pass through the ivory cleanly carved with a will-o-wisp, their message bears no fruit. The dreams that pass through the gates of polished horn are fraught with truth for the dreamer who can see them. But I can't believe my strange dream has come that way. Much as my son, I would love to have it so. One more thing I'll tell you. Weigh it well. The day that dawns today, this cursed day, will cut me off from Odysseus' house. Now I mean to announce a contest for those axes, and the ones who would often line up here inside the hall. 12 in a straight unbroken road like blocks of shore of keel. Then stand well back and whip an arrow through the lot. Now I will bring them on as a trial for my suitors. The hand that can string the bow with the greatest ease, that shoots the arrow clean through all 12 axes, he's the man I will follow. Yes, forsaking this house, where I was once a bride, this gracious house. So filled with the best that life can offer, I shall always remember it, that I know, even in my dreams. O my queen, Odysseus, man of exploits, urged her own. Royal wife of Laertes' son, Odysseus now, don't put off this test in the halls a moment. Before the crew can handle the polished bow, string it taut and shoot through those axes. Odysseus, man of exploits, will be home with you. If only, my friend, the wise Penelope replied, you were willing to sit beside me in the house, indulging me in the comfort of your presence. Sleep would never drift across my eyes, but one can't go without one sleep forever. The mortals give each thing a proper place, and our mortals lie throughout the gods' green earth. So now I'm going back to my room upstairs and lie down on my bed. That bed and pain and my tears have streaked in, year in and year out, from the day Odysseus sailed away to sea. Destroy? I call it, I hate to say its name. There I'll rest, while they lie here in the hall, spreading your blankets somewhere on the floor, or the women will prepare a decent bed. With that, the queen went up to her lofty well-lit room, and not alone, her women followed close behind. Penelope, once they reached the upper story, fell to weeping for Odysseus, her beloved husband, till watchful Athena sealed her eyes with welcome sleep.